Today I'm so excited to have you join me as I do 3 coastal decor projects for our bedroom, kind of trash to treasure with a little bit of Dollar Tree thrown in. Can't wait for you to see it. I hope you enjoy.
Hi, this is Lisa Marie. Welcome to my channel, Living My Best Life. I make all kinds of videos having to do with how to live your best life, things that make me happy, and maybe some of them will help you too.
The first DIY that I'm going to do for you today, I'm taking a very old dresser, and you can see it's just that basic wood color with the old hardware, and I'm going to turn that into something coastal and fun. I found these really cool starfish and seashell stencils at Walmart, so I just had to get them for this project. So I removed all the drawers and I painted the outer parts of the dresser with chalk paint by Waverly called Crystal. It's a really pretty, very light blue, and then I used the mineral to do the stencils so that it would look kind of like sand. I also used the mineral paint to do a little bit of dry brushing around the edges. I just wanted to give it a little bit of a distressed feeling and also that kind of sandy look, so it looked like it had more grain to it. And then I learned a really cool technique on one of my favorite DIY channels called Chalk It Up Fancy. I'll put their link in the description, where you use your stencil and you use a little bit of the fast dry spackle type compound, and you make sure that it lifts up over the top of the stencil, so when you remove it you have a textured stencil. It's a really cool technique. You should try it. After you apply the compound and you remove the stencil, then you very lightly sand it. You don't want it to come off, let it dry first, and just very lightly sand it with a pretty high grit of sandpaper. You don't want to take the whole thing off, you just want to give it a little bit of smoothness for the paint. And then I took my Waverly paint, the color Crystal, and I painted all of the drawer faces. And it took about 2 coats for all of my Crystal paint to look just right. Then I took the Waverly mineral again and I did a little bit of dry brushing over the raised stenciling design so you could see it a little better. Just needed to get in there to those edges so that it would stand out. And here you can see a seashell, and then in the next picture you're going to see a starfish. The starfish didn't come out as good as the seashell, but I was pretty happy with it. The next thing I needed to do was deal with the hardware. It was pretty old-fashioned, and I had this idea to get some rose gold metallic paint, as you can see here. So I ordered that off of Amazon, and when it came I was able to paint the knobs and the drawer pulls. Had a little issue with the drawer pulls though, which I'll tell you about in a second. I just wanted to let you know that after I did the rose gold metallic paint, I did put a clear coat over the top to protect it. So about the drawer pulls, I wanted to remove them, but they were all stripped. It was a very old dresser. We were given this by a family member who had had it for years. So what I had to do was actually paint very carefully right onto the hardware and then put the clear coat over it. And it did come out pretty good considering it wasn't easy to do. And I had to be careful so that they wouldn't stick to themselves, the little handles, so I stuck a paintbrush in there and some other things to make it work. The other thing was I really loved the rose gold, so I went a little crazy and I ended up kind of using that as a dry brush over some of the raised stenciling. And I'm still not 100% sure if I should have done that, but I do really like the way it looks, that sheen that it has. The rose gold is gorgeous. If you haven't tried using it, I highly recommend it. And here are just a couple of shots of the dresser drying, and I did put some clear coat all over it, probably 2 to 3 coats on the outer part of the dresser. And then I took some nautical twine from Dollar Tree and I affixed it to the very top and the very bottom. And I attached the nautical rope using my hot glue gun, and it worked great. It was just the perfect way to attach it. I felt like that just added a little extra to the kind of coastal theme, and I really like how it turned out. For DIY number 2, I used a combination of placemats that I found at Goodwill for $1 each and a really cute placemat that was very beachy that I found at Cracker Barrel. I had a vision for making a wall hanging out of these, and I wanted to use twine to just kind of tie the two things together. And so that's what I did. I used my hot glue gun and I attached twine around the outside of the beachy placemat, and I probably did 3 or 4 times around and raised it up a little to give it a little bit of texture and make it more solid. And this was my first time to use my new hot glue gun, which is cordless, but I hadn't charged it yet, so I'm using it with the cord. Honestly though, it is so much better than my other one. The other one looks like a toy compared to this one. This one was amazing, and it held so much more glue stick, and I really felt like it was fun to work with. You just have to be careful, and you're putting it around a circle that you're not pushing everything towards the middle and almost raising it up. So you kind of had to flatten it out here and there just to make sure that it stayed nice and flat. I played around a little bit to see how I wanted them to lay, and I decided to kind of do it a little off center so that one placemat was on a little bit above, the beachy one was in the middle, and then the other one hung down a little bit lower. And I attached them to each other using the hot glue, and then out of the twine I made a little hanger, and I just put a knot on each end and glued that to the back. And then I got this idea, hey, I think I'm going to do a little painting on the straw placemat. So I started off with Crystal Waverly paint first, and then I got this idea of doing not exactly an ombre, but kind of like an ombre, so taking some of the colors that are in there. So I found this really pretty teal that I had also, and I used that. And then I thought, oh, you know what? Maybe I could add a third color. This is what happens when I get started. I just get excited and I start thinking of other things. So then I added a little bit of a bluish color. And I think it just came out really cute because all those colors are actually in the center placemat, and then the basket also matches one of the colors in the placemat. So for me, it just looked great, and I just felt like it added a little more interest and charm. I don't know, what do you guys think? And for my third coastal DIY, I had seen on a friend's channel, Craft Eat Repeat, she did the coolest thing with 3 books. And I will put her link below in the description as well. I wanted to do something not exactly the same, but just in my own way. So I found 3 books at Goodwill that were like $1, I think, each. And I just first painted them over with a little bit of primer. And then as soon as I got the primer on all 3 books, because obviously you can see it does not cover 100%. I picked 3 different paint colors from Folk Art Home Decor. The first one is called Grotto, and it looks very much like teal. The next color that I decided to use is called Gray, and that's exactly what it is, and I thought that would be a really nice color to add. And the last color that I decided to use for this project was called Nautical. It was really pretty, really deep blue. It took about 2 coats each and then just a little touch up to make sure it covered up anything that had been on the original book cover. Now I'm not showing it, but I did try to stencil on the spines of each of the books, and it really did not come out good because they're pretty small and it just kind of bled together, and stenciling is still new to me. So you'll see in a little while that I paint over it, so if you notice that right now, just kind of ignore it. And let's focus on the fact that I did stencil successfully a fleur-de-lis. And then I added some nautical rope to the top of each book. I thought that also gave it a really nice coastal flair. And of course I added that nautical rope with my hot glue gun. And right now I'm trying to touch up those stenciled letters, and trust me, there's just no hope for them whatsoever. So I'm about to get fed up. There I go, and I am now painting over a couple of different coats just to get rid of it altogether. And I did come up with another solution, which you will see shortly. I'm still learning, and so there's a lot of trial and error going on, and so you'll see me doing and undoing and redoing, and you know what? That's all part of the process of creativity as well. So we'll all learn together. So for my solution, I had these really cool silver letters that were stickers that I got from Dollar Tree, and I decided to come up with 3 words to put on the different spines of the books. So the first one was beach, and then the second one is going to be relax, and then the third one is going to be fun. And that's what the beach is to me. It's fun, relaxing, and just one of my favorite places in the whole world, which is why my bedroom is decorated that way. I couldn't get the backing off of the stickers because they're teeny tiny. So what I did was I used a little Mod Podge on the spines, then I placed the letters where I wanted them, let that dry, and then I did a coat over the top of the Mod Podge. And I did that a couple times to make sure. And of course, when it dries, you can see the silver really well. It doesn't look white when it's all dried. And I thought that the Mod Podge looked really good on the spines. It gave it a little bit of a sheen, so I went ahead and I just did it over all of the book covers completely, and that way they'd all look uniform and have a little bit of shine to them. Well, it just didn't feel quite finished to me, so I thought, okay, I'm going to tie a piece of twine around the books the long way and make a bow. And so I did do that, and I kind of positioned the books so they were centered, and I really liked it. And then I had these seashells, and I got this idea, hey, what if I put 2 of these seashells together and then I attach a pearl in it? It will look like a little clam with a pearl. And I thought, oh my gosh, that would be really cute. So there I am, adding it to the top of the bow. Just had to get one more little thing in there. Never fails. And here's the finished product. I really like the way it turned out with the shiny letters. I just think it's really, really cute. In fact, I really like all the projects. So we'll take one last look at them. And there we are with the placemat hanging. There's the books. And of course, we come back to the dresser that I redid. And I'm just thrilled with them. Let me know which ones you like the best, or if there were any great ideas that you got that you might want to do because of it. Big oof. It's not just a mistake, it's a little bigger than a regular mistake. So now you know, and you can be part of the conversation. See you next time. Bye.